Hey everyone, this is Alan over at Cobblers Plus, and today we're going to be working on treating some Anteater's skin boots. These boots actually, I was in the middle of working on resoling them and still going to finish that out. That's another video if you guys want to check that out, but this one I decided to do separately to show you how to treat Anteater. It's of course considered to be more of an exotic type, so you got to treat it a little bit differently. You don't just slap on whatever kind of cream that's more generic or anything on it. If you want them to last for a while, you got to use the right stuff. And of course we're going to start out by cleaning it first. Now this Anteater, usually I highly recommend using something very light, a vinegar based cleaner, desalter for example. If you have any kind of staining on it from salt damage, definitely want to pre-treat it beforehand. These ones luckily don't have any of that. And your other light cleaner would be the Angelus Easy Cleaner, or also the Lincoln Easy Cleaner. They're pretty much the same thing, but they're a light enough cleaner where you just pour it into a bowl, take a soft brush of some sort. Nylon soft brush tends to work fairly fine. Angelus actually makes an awesome brush that works perfectly for that. Just go through it and allow some time for it to dry, probably about 30 minutes to an hour. You do want to do that. And when you're cleaning it, don't just spot treat it. When you start cleaning, you do the whole thing. You do the whole entire boot. Spot treating, say for salt, that's one thing, but you still have to go through afterwards with this cleaner and clean it up. If you end up using some kind of solvent like acetone or a thinner or anything like that, or turpentine, I don't recommend doing that unless you are very experienced at using it. Today for cleaning, we're actually going to be using the Renomat to strip down a little bit of something. There's something that feels like there's just something on there, and we're going to have to strip it down a little bit. So we're not actually going to be using this today, but we'll go ahead and use the Renomat. And again, be very, very careful. If this is your first time, I highly recommend that you have had some practice first beforehand on non-exotic leathers, basically, to get the hang of using anything as strong as, the Renomat, which has turpentine in there, acetone or thinner that we have here, or spot remover. Those are even stronger, and you definitely don't want to use those on here. Alcohol, same thing. Don't want to use that on there. Turpentine will probably be one of the strongest things. Alcohol or turpentine would basically be the two strongest that you would ever want to use. Anything stronger than that, like acetone or thinner or anything like that, is just not a good idea, and I highly recommend that you stay away from it. Otherwise, if you are doing your most basic cleaning, you don't have anything serious on there, you've never polished them, cleaned them, conditioned them or anything, and they're just dirty, this will be plenty good for you right there. Or even skipping to the next step afterwards, and I'll show you that in a minute. But always, we start out with a horsehair brush. Just kind of brush off any kind of dirt and dust off of there. Make sure to get inside that welt area there nicely. Now again, like I said, I was resoling these, and I did blow them off with some compressed air, and I did buff them just slightly to get off some of that dust, but hand brush always gets better into all those nooks and crannies, and especially considering how textured Anteater really is. You guys like that sole? I was experimenting, so check out that other video if you guys are interested in seeing that one, show how I end up getting that effect there. But we got all the dust off. Make sure to shake up our stuff there. I already shook it up just a little bit, but we just want a small amount, and you gotta go through fast. Don't concentrate on one spot too much, because you don't want too much of that turpentine soaking in. See, there was something on there. The Renomat, it's formulated to remove mainly old polishes, waxes, creams, and that's about it. Any form of original dye off of here, it's not going to remove that. I mean, unless you really sit there scrubbing it quite a bit. Now, of course, the bottom section of the boot is Anteater. This top section is not. It is irregular hide leather, basically. Sorry, I'm spacing out here. It's the end of the day here. It's after hours already, and I'm a little tired. I've been working a little bit too much this week, but at least the weekend is about here, even though I'm still working tomorrow. And I still got a lot to do over the weekend anyways. I don't get lazy days, unfortunately. Now, as far as this shaft area, you usually don't have to treat it because usually you don't apply a lot of polishes or anything like that on the shaft. So it's not needed to treat that upper with the Reno mat usually, unless you know that you've put on wax or pigmented polish. If it was just a conditioner that you put on that shaft, you're perfectly fine. But I'll go ahead and finish out this other one. We've cleaned that off. Like I said, we can only do a little bit on there. We can't do anything too heavy. But at this point, I'll set this one aside to make sure it dries nicely and thoroughly. About 15 minutes will do good on these, especially because it's an exotic. 10 to 15 minutes usually is fine on your regular leathers. 15 to 20 minutes is what I would recommend on exotics if you are resorted to having to use either Reno mat or alcohol. But I'll go ahead and do the other one off camera, so I'm not wasting your time too much longer. And I'll be back here in about 15-20, probably closer to 20 minutes to continue on working on these. So we'll see you in just a little while. All right, so it's been 20 minutes now. We've allowed these to, let that turpentine evaporate out of there nicely. Now there's different methods. Certain materials we can't allow turpentine to evaporate. We have to condition it immediately, at least once before it starts to really evaporate, because it dries it out so much. Luckily, Anteater is a little bit more durable, so it can withstand at least sitting there just fine like that. But I did pre-treat these before I started working on them also with Big 5 to condition it, because they were extremely dry at that point. That's another reason why I don't necessarily have to do that. So the Big 5, it's just a spray-on version. I just really saturated it heavily, so allowing it to just kind of soak everything in. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use the Saphir Beauty Cure Reptan cream. This is formulated for, exotics, basically reptile skin and other forms of exotics such as Anteater here. It has lanolin in it and also mineral waxes, so nothing too strong or too harsh for it. Those mineral waxes are going to give it a bit of a shine and protect it as well. It's not a beeswax, so it doesn't settle over top as much. Mineral waxes tend to be absorbed even into something like this here. The other thing is the lanolin, of course, that tends to absorb a little bit better into exotics that don't really have pore structures in them like cowhide does usually. And so the lanolin penetrates a little bit better and more easily and restores that nutrients back into that leather. Now, like I said, Big 5, I used that. It's one of their conditioning products just to at least get us started. But to finish out, it's going to be Saphir only, and if it wasn't in that rough of a shape, and if it wasn't for having to put them on a stretcher and also resold them, I probably would have gone with just this stuff here to condition it. But we're going to be working with this now. I like to use a dauber brush because the bristles tend to get into the nooks and crannies a little bit better, even around the welt area. Go through the welt just a little bit to condition the leather welts that you may have or most likely have. It'd be a shame to have plastic welt on a pair of Anteater boots like this. And with that horsehair dauber brush, I'm sorry, I just forgot what I said, but horsehair dauber brush is what I'm using. I don't know if I just said nylon brush. If I did, I apologize. It's horsehair dauber. I'll put a little bit of a heftier coat on there because, again, these were extremely dry, and I want a good amount on here. All right, go through all that. There we go. And you can use this on other sections of the boot that might not be exotic, not like this Anteater here. This is, of course, your regular full grain leather, but you could still use it on there too. Just spread it out nicely and evenly. Now also, if you haven't ever treated your exotic leather like Anteater here or any other form of exotic leather right out of the box, you probably want to do that. You don't know how long those boots have been sitting on a shelf before you finally purchased them, whether it was at the store or the factory that they were made at. You just don't know. So always condition them brand new out of the box. From that point on, you know exactly what you did to them. You know that you use, Big 4, Big 5, Lexol, you use the Saphir Reptan or whatever it might be. You at least know what you did to them and at least gave it some form of nutrients, when it was just sitting there. Because most companies, when they're making the shoes or boots, they actually don't treat the uppers after they're finished. They'll just buff them over and maybe put a little bit of either acrylic dye or a slight wax coat on it, just for display purposes, for it to look nice. But for wearable purpose, they're not treated for that. So definitely do that right out of the box. And of course, my recommendation would be to use the Reptan here, just because it's formulated for this. It's not your all-in-one type of solution. Now, the key ingredients I named off, of course, is your lanolin and your wax minerals. Lanolin and wax minerals are your key ingredients, but your base ingredient, of course, in here is water. So because that's the base ingredient, you could actually use that as a light cleaner too, because it's got that water in there. The water, when you're using a brush like this, if you just scrub a little bit more, a little vigorously in certain areas, it'll help clean out certain little spots and debris as well nicely. And you could just wipe it off if you need to, and then just apply another light coat, very light, even just your finger would be fine in that specific spot. So if you were to do just one step, if you didn't need to, pre-treat it or, clean it heavily or anything, if you just use the Reptan, that'll be perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. Your boots are not dirty, they're not muddy, there's no waxes on them. If you had waxes on there from the factory or something, they've probably worn out by now anyways if you haven't pre-treated them out of the box. But that this will be the only thing you'll need for your exotic boots in particular. Now, if you're trying to shine or treat non-exotic boots, say regular cowhide, kid skin, box leather, you would actually be using a product called Renovator is what they actually call it. But that's what you would be using to treat that type of leather, and that's because it's got mink oil in there and beeswax, and those are a little bit of a thicker agent because the pore structure in your box leather, well, not box leather per se, but your full grain leathers, they have much larger pores and can absorb something that's that heavy very well, where exotics don't have a large pore structure most of the time. Sometimes they don't have any pore structure, so they need something like lanolin to really absorb it nicely. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and clean off my brush here. If you're using a dauber brush, make sure you clean it off. It makes these brushes last a lot longer than you can think they would, but well, a lot longer than they normally would with use. But at this point, I'm gonna let it sit and soak in for about 5 to 10 minutes. Doesn't need much more than that. It looks like it's already soaked in a lot of it, actually. That pre-treatment with that Big 5 definitely helped it out because they were just dry. But even then, if I put on a single coat of this stuff because of how dry it was, I probably need to use 2 or 3 more additional coats. But because of spraying them down with that Big 5 a few times, I think I did it 2 or 3 times. I'm trying to remember. Sorry, it's been a long week for me and it took me a couple of days to finish the soles out on these. But I'd probably have to apply this at least 2 more times, so a total of 3 times because of how dry they were. but at this point they seem to be fairly supple and everything. So I'm gonna let that sit for just a little while, and I'll be back in a little bit to do the next step on them. So we'll see you. Alright, so it's been a little while now. Allowed everything to soak in nicely. While I was soaking in, I finished off a few things that I needed on the repair side anyways. Now I'm going to grab my larger horsehair brush. This isn't a very large one, it's actually a fairly small one, but it works out great still either way. I mean, this is probably what you would be purchasing anyways. And I'm just going to go ahead and buff it over slightly. And buffing it over like this will actually bring out that shine of those wax minerals. Just very light brushing vigorously, nothing too heavy. You don't have to press down hard. You actually shouldn't press down hard. There we go. Now it definitely brings out that shine a little bit more. Now you can see that one that's been treated, you know, but this one's definitely shinier because it's just been buffed up with that horsehair brush. That's why you have to have horsehair brushes. You know, you come in to purchase a product, you know, like Reptan or any of the other products that we may carry, or even from a different shop, whatever it may be. You know, you're applying it on there, you know, which is perfectly fine. Whether you're using a dauber brush or a towel or whatever you're using to apply it, you know, you're doing good with that. But don't forget that what actually brings out the shine is this buffing motion, that friction right there. It allows the waxes in the product to melt down a little bit and have a nicer glaze to it. And that's it, you know. And even your basic care, like even if you're not ever treating them, even if you take them to a shoe shine guy, a leather specialist, a cobbler, you know, if you're taking your boots or shoes into somebody, you know, to treat them, say once a month, once every 6 months, or whatever it may be, if you have a horsehair brush like this, you know, for your boots or shoes, you get up in the morning and just buff them over just a little bit. It's going to bring up that shine a little bit more. It's going to melt those waxes again just a little bit, and you have shiny shoes for the day. At the end of the day, you get home, just brush them off again real quick, get any dust, dirt, or debris off of it real quickly, and then you can put them back on your shelf. And, you know, it extends the look and life expectancy of your boots significantly, especially with your exotics. And, you know, if you're using a product such as Saphir for any of them, these products are natural ingredients, and so, you know, they're going to help that upper get restored significantly. And the other thing is also they're formulated in such ways where your shines tend to stay longer. And what I mean by your shine tends to stay longer is that if you just do this one regular maintenance, you know, every time you wear them, once when you leave, or even every other time, at the very least every other time of wearing them, you're going to be bringing back that shine, and that shine's just going to last longer. After a while, of course, the waxes, they start to wear off and wear out, and that's when you either bring it into a place like ours here and have it fully treated again, or you do a full treatment process. You know, just that little bit will definitely help significantly. So, you know, horsehair brush definitely helps, and we always recommend a minimum of 2 brushes, one for your dark colors, one for your light colors. Here at our shop, as you can see, this is for the reddish colors that we have. We have well over a dozen brushes for different types of leathers and different colors as well, and shades. So, you know, we have more. And if you're an avid shoe enthusiast or boot enthusiast, you have a large collection, you definitely might want to have more than just 2 brushes then. You know, you want to have one for your really light colors, you want to have one for your medium, like brown colors and all that, maybe medium brown to dark brown, and your black. That's 3 brushes already. If you want to add an odd color like a blue or a red or a mahogany or something, that's 1 or 2 more brushes there for those colors. So definitely want to have a little collection of brushes as well if you have a collection of fine footwear. But now at this point, we're not going to be working on trying to restore the color. If we were, we'd be doing a different method. We'd actually do a little bit of a dye touch up beforehand, before even doing a full treatment on it. But we're just trying to condition and give it a full treatment. Restoring the color on exotics is a little bit hard, and I don't recommend doing it as often because the dye process on it's very harsh. It's alcohol based mostly, and you know, it's not exactly good for old leathers that have been worn out this way. And anyways, this light color especially, that's a natural occurring patina. There's beauty in that. You know, appreciate that beauty of your worn boots. You know, a lighter colored boot will show a darker patina, where your darker boots will show a lighter patina. That's a natural beauty of the leather. Over time it builds its own characteristics, its own color variation, and you know, appreciate it. You know, if you really want to force it and do something to them, by all means we can do that, or you can do it, but it's going to shorten that life expectancy overall of those boots. I've had boots even with the exotic leathers that came through that are about 2 generations in. I'm not talking a few decades old, I'm talking over 50 years old. You know, that's especially for an exotic leather, that's tough, you know, to maintain for that period of time. But anyways, at this point now, I'm going to take it a step up now. If you're happy with this, you know, this is perfectly good here. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it, it's conditioned, it's got its nutrients back. You're all done and ready to move on now. But we're going to take it a step up here at our shop using the Saphir Medal d'Or Pate De Luxe wax. You know, again, you don't want to be using too much waxes on here, but we try to apply a little more just because the waxes tend to help protect that leather a little bit better from water. It is a wax, of course, so the water tends to beat off a little bit, and it brings out a little more of a shine. Plus, I'm only using my fingers to apply it, so I'm applying a very, very fine, thin coat, and I'm just kind of massaging it into the upper here. Anyways, because my battery died, I allowed this to dry because there's turpentine in here to soften up the waxes, and we definitely want to allow that to dry and evaporate as well. And it's been about 20 minutes as well. We'll let those dry nicely. Now, I did only do the bottom portion. I never do the shaft area. The shaft I only condition because this gets covered up by pants, and the waxes, they tend to rub off a lot easier onto your clothing. So only condition the uppers, but treat the bottom portion completely, you know. So cleaning and then just a regular neutral conditioner will be fine up here. Bottom area, you could add your waxes, you could add whatever it may be depending on what it is you're working with. But anyways, I allowed it all to dry now and evaporate, so now we've just got the light pigment and the wax is left behind. So that turpentine is now evaporated. Now we go back to our horsehair brush and just brush it over a little bit more. And that friction, again, melts down the wax, smoothing it out a little bit, and brings out even more of shine. And this is where that comes in handy, where you have a horsehair brush for at home. Wow. I don't know how you guys see it there on camera, but in person it's definitely a lot shinier now than even when it had just the Reptan. And this is before and after brushing. You know, again, if you're just buying the product, that's what's going to happen. You're just applying product. You're not actually doing anything about it. And there's the finished of it because we brushed it. But anyways, if you are also doing this, like I said, we had resold these already, and that means we already did the edging on it. And what we do with edging is there's a few different methods to doing it. If your edges are fairly beaten up, Saphir has a product called Saphir Renovating Repair Cream. It's highly pigmented paste that comes in a little tube, and you just apply it with your finger. The other one that's more common and readily available and works very well is Fiebing's edge dressing. They have it in quite a few different sizes, and you could probably pick that up in just about any shoe repair or leather shop. Otherwise, we've got it in stock if you need it. And just apply that, and I would recommend applying that first, actually, after cleaning it. Before applying the Reptan or any waxes or anything, always do the edging first, just in case if you need to touch it up with a cleaning solution or something. I mean, you want to be very careful not to get that stuff on the upper, because it's either very hard or impossible to get out, but that'll help out. And then afterwards, at the very end, once you've treated the upper, we like to grab a can of neutral in this stuff usually, and get a toothbrush shaped horsehair brush. Let me grab one. Hang on. No idea what I said in that last bit. I apologize, but I had to grab one of these. But a toothbrush looking horsehair brush, and we just dab it just a little bit on the wax there, a little bit, and then we brush it in. We get into that welt right there, right where the stitches are and everything. The waxes get into those holes and kind of help protect it from water getting in a little better as well, and just makes it look nicer and shinier for a longer period of time. And again, that you want to do after you've applied this on the uppers, and that's if you're applying it, or after you've applied this, so that while it's drying or soaking in, you're applying the edging there. And again, allow it to dry at that point, you know, for a little bit, at least 10 or 15 minutes if you're just doing the welt. If you're already taking care of the uppers, or if you've used just the Reptan on there, you know, allow that turpentine to evaporate for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then go through and, you know, then you can brush it along with everything else with your horsehair brush. But that's just a few extra options, you know, you can do. And again, we've already done it, so I can't really show you because we did a full resole on these. But again, check out that video if you'd like to. I'll try to link it in the description down below if you want to see that. It is a much longer video, definitely, because it's a much longer process to do a full resole. And in that video, I did spray these boots down a few times with the Big 5 to at least start the conditioning and treating process from how dry they were. But anyways, before I keep talking on and on, I hope you've enjoyed this video. You know, I hope it was very informative for you to understand the process that it takes for us to do it, and the treatments that you should be taking care of your exotic boots. You know, you can't just buy them out of the box and just slip them on and you're good to go. I highly recommend that you treat them beforehand. That will definitely help extend the life expectancy of your investment in a nice pair of boots. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Otherwise, you can give us a call or send us a message, or even stop by if you're local here in the Denver area. If you're not local and you have a question, you know, sending us pictures definitely helps a lot more, you know, than just trying to describe it. If you have pictures, those will help significantly, and that's if you're not local. If you're local, in person is the best way to do it, but we'll try as best we can, either over the phone or over a message of some sort, to help you out. And also, don't forget, if you're wanting us to work on your boots, shoes, or any other leather type of goods, if you're not local as well, you can always mail them in to us. Just go to our website, CobblrsPlusCO, and under the ship and orders tab, follow the instructions on filling out the PDF file, put them all in the box, and ship it out. We'll give you a call within the next day or two after receiving them, talk over what we'd recommend, the repair process, and options for you. After they're all finished out, we'll send them back to you, and you'll hopefully be excited to get your boots back, or shoes, or whatever it may be, to finally use it again in workable, or, you know, better than it was before condition, definitely. But all right, also, if you've enjoyed this and you're hoping to see more and more videos, I'm trying to make more videos on especially exotic leather treatment and other types of repairs and things that we do, product recommendations, even reviews and testings. You know, please subscribe, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that when we release a new video, you'll be notified. I'm trying to stick to posting them about once every week, but it's a little challenging. You know, I'm a cobbler full-time. I'm not a videographer, I'm not a professional video editor or anything, or recorder, as you can tell, so it's not exactly professional. But I hope you enjoy the videos still, and they're, you know, very informative to you in some form or way. And you know, I'll just see you next time then.